Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We are going to give our audience a little bit of time just to get on in here. So I'll give us about 15 to 20 seconds before we get started. Awesome. All righty, everyone. Well, good morning or afternoon. My name is Mariela Salinas, and I'm a marketing specialist here at Educate 360. Welcome to today's webinar, Business Analysis for Project Managers, presented by our fantastic instructor for today, Andrea Brockmeyer. We're going to be in Zoom for today's session, and we will be sharing a copy of this recording with you in an email after the webinar. We do encourage participation throughout the webinar, so please use the chat or the Q&A option for our short Q&A portion after the presentation. Educate 360 is so excited to present this webinar today. I will now hand it over to you, Andrea.
Thank you so much, Mariela. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for taking time out of your wildly busy day to participate and hear a few thoughts about the business analysis for project managers. It's really great to be here, talk with you about this. I'm pretty passionate about this, so I'm looking forward to sharing some thoughts. So let's do a little, it's always fun to kind of find out who's out there. So Mariela, if you would like to just fire up the poll here and we'll just see who we've got out there.
Absolutely. And I'll go ahead and give us about 30 seconds since I
And I
know
know that it may not be a super tidy fit, but kind of how you see your primary role. What you do most of the time.
All right, about 5 more seconds, and then we'll end this bad
See
boy.
a poll on your screen.
Alrighty, here are the results.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, so not super surprised, right? It's a BA for PMs. So expected to see a lot of PMs. So between PMs and hybrid PM BAs, well over 50% there, and then BAs in there as well. So great, even a couple of sponsors. Nice, love to see that. That's always a good sign. All right, well, thank you so much for that, everybody. All right, so why do project managers need to up their BA game? And that really is the premise of where I'm coming from on this today. And actually, I feel really strongly about this, that project managers need to understand business analysis better. They really do. And here are some of the reasons why. And this is from a recent PMI Pulse of the Profession. Inaccurate requirements gathering consistently ranks in the top 3 causes of project failure. Yet only half of organizations have resources in place to perform this function properly. So there's a huge disconnect there between how important it is and how much organizations invest in developing the resources and skills to do it well. Check this out. 45% of BAs report that their biggest obstacle is people not understanding the BA role. And that's from a recent IIBA survey. Now, I want you to think, what if BA project managers had to deal with that? What if 45% of project managers said that people didn't understand their role? How would that impact your ability to do your job? Think about that. Think about how, frankly, debilitating that would be, professionally. So respondents said that the biggest barriers, and this is from another IIBA report, that their biggest barriers in their role is lack of understanding the role, being excluded from decision-making, and explaining business analysis to others. 9%, think about that. I have to spend my time explaining what I do to other people. Okay, So if you kind of look at what they did in that study, and they said top barriers in the BA role, really all of them are a function of not understanding the role of business analysis. We like to think it's getting better, but if you ask 10 people, how many different answers do you think you'd get as to, what is business analysis? What does a BA do? So, what is a business analysis? What does a BA do? Well, a BA is anybody who's doing the work of business analysis as described in the business analysis body of knowledge, no matter their job title or organizational role. So that's from the BABAC guide, which is IIBA's standard for business analysis. Similar thing from PMI's Guide to Business Analysis. It's any individual doing the work of business analysis, regardless of the title. Same kind of thing. So it's really important to separate the work of business analysis from the title, right? So anybody who's doing any of the things in the standards, you're doing business analysis at that point. And there's our the hashtag UDBA. I feel pretty strongly, and I have a team of folks that I've worked with that feel pretty strongly that everybody does business analysis, whether you recognize it or not. Elicitation, that's all the further you have to go to get that, right? Is elicitation, uncovering, evoking, drawing out information. Everybody's doing that. You do BA, right on, right on. All right, so business analysis, if that's what a BA is, what is business analysis? What do we mean by that word? So here is a definition from the first edition of the the BA practice guide from PMA. A set of activities performed to identify business needs and recommend relevant solutions, and to elicit, document, and manage requirements. That's a fine definition. That certainly is a good definition. I'm not going to argue with that or suggest it's not right. Business analysis, as defined by IIBA, the practice of enabling change in an enterprise by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. Another great definition. Works perfectly well. Happy with that. Now, the definition that we used in the BA for Practitioners Practice Guide, second edition, which just came out in January, a couple of months ago. I co-chaired the rewrite of that with some folks on a really awesome collaborative BA team, some of the folks in the audience, I believe. And the definition we used, a set of activities performed to support delivery of solutions that align to business objectives and provide continuous value to the organization. So, what we liked about that is that it doesn't, first of all, it doesn't even mention requirements. And I think too often people think of business analysis as synonymous with requirements work. And it's a huge part of what they do, but it's not the only thing that they do, right? I mean, requirements are in there somewhere, but it's more broad than that. But that idea of continuous value, and I really think that speaks to some of the thinking that Agile has contributed, that we bring to much of what we do, that idea of it's not just in the context of what we're doing right now, but that idea of continuous value. So that's a fine definition as well. And again, not to negate any of the others, but these are the kinds of things that we think of when we think of what is business analysis. Now, what is project management? Well, let's take a look at these. What modifications might we make to those definitions? Well, project management is a set of activities to identify and conduct the work needed to meet the business needs and develop the relevant solutions, and to elicit, document, and manage requirements, because PMs have their own requirements as well. Or we could modify that second definition, just tweak that a bit. The practice of enabling change in an enterprise by collaborating on how to deliver solutions that deliver value to stakeholders, right? And then that last one, a set of activities performed to deliver solutions that align to business objectives and provide continuous value to the organization. So the distinction there, the business analysis about identifying the business need and identifying the requirements. So project management is the delivery of that, the building of the solution, the work that goes into constructing, building the solution. Okay, so they're very intricately woven, right? I mean, they're really inextricable if you think about it. And this is why so many project managers end up doing business analysis and don't even realize it, because you can't do project management if you don't have the BA work done. You have to have something to build. You have to have something to execute. And in the absence of an idea of what that solution is, you don't have any project, right? So PMs often end up doing the BA work without even realizing it. Okay, and I'm going to come back to that because I think that's problematic. Right? And we could, spend a whole 5-hour webinar deliberating about how to tweak these definitions. And maybe you've got, in fact, I was just tweaking it before this presentation, which I've delivered before, because every time I look at it, I think a little something different. But just again, getting the idea that they're very closely related. So that's all well and good. We've got some sense of what BAs are, and we've got some sense of what business analysis and how it's similar and different from project management. What's the importance of business analysis? Well, it's making sure that the solution meets the stakeholder needs. Okay, BAs are totally dialed in on that, meeting those stakeholder needs. It's about getting buy-in from stakeholders. Right? They've got to be on board, or you're going to have a lot of issues, a lot of problems. It's making sure that different viewpoints and needs are captured, making sure that processes are streamlined, and you're eliminating the waste anywhere that you run across it, because BAs are diving in and getting into process, and they're digging around and finding things. They don't just ignore that stuff. They're all about, as they're looking at what solutions need to be, streamlining those processes that they come into contact or reveal. They're making sure that the solution adds value to the organization and to the stakeholders. And they're positioning the organization for success by enabling change. Project managers used to say projects are how organizations adapt to change. I don't know if you remember that. And then BA started saying business analysis is how organizations adapt to change. And really, I think the interplay between org change and business analysis is pretty tight, right? Because you're coming up with a solution, and you've got even a whole category of requirements around that. Right? So these all sound well and good. Maybe you're a project manager and you're thinking, well, I think I do these things. Yeah, I think those are on my list too. Well, yes and no. What is the importance of project management? Well, project management is making sure the project meets the stakeholder needs, not the solution, the project, the work of delivering that solution, right? They're obtaining buy-in from stakeholders too. That can go on either plate. I'd put that on either plate. Making sure that different viewpoints and needs are captured. I'd put that on either plate. Okay. But they're helping to streamline project processes and eliminate waste. So the BA, thinking more broadly in the organization as they come into contact with or reveal processes anywhere. The PM isn't doing that. The PM is looking at project processes and eliminating waste there. Making sure that the project adds value to the organization and stakeholders. So the PM is the steward of the project resources, right? The BA is the steward of the resources that go into defining the solution. And positioning the organization for success by enabling change, yeah, I'd put both of them on the plate. In fact, they both used to, like I say, kind of own that mantra. So again, a lot of similarity there. It's no big surprise that I think PMs often have two hats they're wearing and aren't often aware of it. All right, so what about the boundaries of the project and the BA work? Okay. Let's just kind of paint a picture about that. So here we have the project, the boundaries of the project, the start of the project and the end of the project here. How does the business analysis work overlap with that? Well, You've got, first of all, pre-project work, right? So the boundaries of a project manager's perspective, really beginning and end of the project, are pretty well defined. BAs, on the other hand, they spill outside the boundaries of that. They're doing work before the project even gets initiated. They're looking at what are the business needs? What are the different issues that the organization is facing? What are the problems, opportunities that we want to capitalize on? What are the options for meeting that need? What's the best option? Developing that business case. That's all BA work. And of course, we know that that's an input into a project document called a charter. Right? The BA is also doing work after, sometimes long after the project is over. They're doing that post-benefit, post-project benefits realization. Did we get out of this initiative what we expected to? And as interested as the PM might be about that, I think a lot of times we get distracted. We're often running to the next thing. Project's over, kind of wipe our hands of that, and boom, we're off and running to the next thing. The business analysis work continues post-project to say, hey, 1 week, 1 month, 3 months, 3 years after that, are we continuing to deliver on that business case like we expected to? Okay, that's evaluating the solution or solution component. And then certainly there's a lot of overlap there where the PM is analyzing and documenting requirements of all different kinds throughout the project, iterating through that. Planning for the BA effort, which is much like PM planning, is iterative and looking at what needs to be done. Eliciting and collaborating, engaging stakeholders all the way throughout that. Managing the requirements, making sure that they're good quality requirements, that they're reusable, and those kinds of things. Okay. Well, this is not always crystal clear because, again, this work has to get done. And in fact, we talk about PMs being strategic project managers, understanding why projects get done. But how involved is the PM in business case development, for example? We certainly are involved in the charter, and the business case is the input into that charter. You know, how involved do we get in that pre-project work? What about that business benefits management plan? Not specifically a PM document, a business document, but something that the PM needs to be aware of. A lot of that is actually, BA work as well. And so it again, kind of doesn't always make things crystal clear because of this sort of these seams that aren't really clear. We sort of have maybe a charter, we've got project closing, but there's that those boundaries are permeable in terms of the BA work that's getting done before, during, and after all of that project work. Okay. So, if you take a look at some of the things that project managers think about and questions that they ask, concerns that they have, what lens is a project manager looking through when they're behaving and acting and making decisions as caretakers or stewards of the project? What thoughts or questions is a BA thinking about when they are making decisions, thinking, acting as caretaker or custodian of the product? Well, who needs to know, for example, if we're going to miss a project deadline? Okay. Well, if I'm the project manager, that's my question to ask. That's my question to figure out and get an answer to, right? Who needs to know about the status of requirements? Well, that's something the BA needs to be aware of. That's a question they're asking. That's information they need to get, right? Who needs to know about changes? What changes? It depends on what the changes are. Are they changes to requirements, to the product? Is it changes to the project? They both need to be involved in that. What about risk? What if people won't make time, let's say, for a requirements workshop? Okay. BA is the one that needs to be on that, right? What if we lose a developer? Okay. I'm wearing my PM hat when I am thinking about that and figuring out how to respond to that. What if the business case changes? Ooh, we both need to be thinking about that. Yeah. What do we need for BA resources? That's a BA thing. What do we need for project resources? That's a PM thing. How are we going to work with the value management office? Probably need to be collaborating on that. Yeah. So if I'm wearing both of those hats, that's a lot of questions. Little secret for you, these are both full-time roles. So if you are wearing both of these hats, you are tired. It's a lot, right? And it's hard. It's not always easy to be thinking clearly and to be understanding what I need to be, how I need to be responding, even to whom I need to be responding. So if I take some time and I understand what business analysis is, and I understand and can define those roles more clearly as a project manager, I'm going to be able to distinguish when I have my PM hat on and when I have my BA hat on. When am I looking through that PM lens? When am I looking through that BA lens? I'm going to be able to use that perspective and act as that product custodian when I'm doing BA work, and act and use that perspective as the project custodian when I'm a PA. When do I participate in project related activities and how? When do I participate in product related activities and how? It's okay if I do both, but which lens do I need to be looking through when I'm doing those things? And importantly, and I think this one doesn't get enough attention, to whom am I accountable? They're different answers. Who's the project manager accountable to? Who would you say? Most of you are project managers out there. To whom are we accountable as a project manager? What would you say? I'm asking. I'm wondering if somebody will put an answer in. Sponsors, absolutely. Quick answer. Everybody would agree with that, right? We're accountable to the sponsor. We talk all about that. It's really, critical. When I'm working with clients, it's one of the questions I always ask: what does sponsorship look like in your organization? Now, let me ask this: to whom is the BA accountable? I don't think that's a simple answer. The business product owner. Ooh, yeah, the business, whatever that means, right? The business owners, the business line. Now, what some people will say is the PM. I'm personally, and this is kind of out of scope for this presentation. Actually, we should do, Mariella, we should do a whole seminar, a whole webinar on BA accountability, because I think it's an interesting question. The PM, I don't think I want the BA accountable to the project manager. I think at some point that's a conflict of interest. I don't think that works. I think a lot of times people have BAs sort of reporting to PMs. It's much better. It's healthier for the projects, and it's actually healthier for the PM and the BA, for the BA and the PM to be colleagues, to be collaborators, to be partners, and to be collaborative in their work. But anyway, so not a settled answer on that one. I think it can depend, but I think there are good ways of doing that and not so good ways. But if you're trying to wear both hats, that's a huge thing. To whom am I answering? Whose interests am I acting on behalf of? Right? Yeah. Other things that BAs do that project managers don't always have an understanding of or an appreciation for. This whole thing with BAs, the BA gets brought into the project, 3, 4, 5 weeks after it started, because, okay, we need you to go get requirements. Why don't you go take a couple weeks and get requirements, and then let us know when you're done. Like, it's so not that. Business analysis is so not that. And there are all these other things that BAs do that are really important. For example, business rules. Business rules, we all live with them. They are not things that project managers typically talk about or think about. This is something that BAs are totally dialed in on. Thinking about what are those self-imposed constraints that we have around how we do things. Things that have to be accounted for as we're coming up with solutions and defining requirements, so that we don't end up with requirements that violate them, and so that the solution is supportive of those business rules. PMs don't have that on their radar. That's a huge value add for BAs. And by the way, the things I'm talking about are not unique to waterfall project environments. Agile business rules don't go away in agile environments. Somebody needs to be thinking about those things, capturing those things, making sure that that solution is supportive of and supported by the business rules and inclusive of the business rules. And the other thing is traceability. Now, I think to some extent PMs think about traceability, but it is absolutely hardwired into the BA's DNA. The idea that the requirements that we come up with, the solution that we come up with needs to trace back to that business need, that business case, whether that's a formal business case or not, that project charter, things that we come up with. And we might use a formal traceability matrix. We might just think about the tools that we use and make sure that we're tracing to the business need, whether it's do an impact map or whatever we're using, making sure that we use that as an anchor for everything we do, so that as people come up with how are we going to, meet their fantasies about what this solution does, that it actually adds value. And I'm not saying PMs aren't concerned about that, but they aren't thinking about that in the same way that a BA is. It's a great partnership opportunity for the BA and the PM. And that's why, again, it's good to have two heads in those roles so that they can both be thinking about that, making sure that the solution itself is aligned with that business need, and making sure that therefore the work that's being done to create that solution is aligned with that. Right? So the BA is really a way of preempting work that doesn't need to be done. That's a waste. And that's, cha-ching, cha-ching. That's not valuable stuff. So PMs who understand business analysis appreciate the business analysis work that needs to be done on their projects. It's not like BA work is fluff. It's not like, well, if you have time, think about business rules. Or, if you have time, why don't you do something around traceability, making sure that there's alignment there. This is not just, nice to have. These are things that absolutely, bottom line, need to be done to make sure that we're making good use of project, organizational, solution resources. And when a project manager understands, they don't need to be the go-to BA for sure, but to understand something about what BAs do, they will appreciate that more. They might be more inclined to advocate for this work and the people who do it, maybe to pull them in a little earlier, maybe to think about, you know what, let's not have them report to me per se. Let's be colleagues. Let's see how we can work effectively together to collaborate for the benefit of the project, the initiative, and the organization. Just like we, in environments where, in thinking about the clients that I've worked with over the years, when you train project team members on project management, is there benefit to that? Huge, right? Maybe they're not going to manage the project, but a team member who understands what to expect from the project manager and understands what they should be looking for in project management, they're way more effective team members. That's where you get things like, okay, we're not going to do this because there's no value. And you get commitment to continue improvement. You get way better collaboration, more enthusiastic, people that understand the larger context, right? Or you get sponsors who understand something about project management, right? They're not managing the project, hopefully. Are they better sponsors? Heck yeah, they understand what to expect from their PMs. They understand what to expect from the team members. They understand what to expect from themselves. Way better collaborators, way better advocates, way more effective in making sure that that project delivers value. It's the same kind of thing for PMs understanding business analysis. This is an essential skill set on every initiative. For heaven's sakes, the biggest barrier BAs deal with is that people don't understand their role. We can do better than this, folks. It's in our interest to do better than this, because when we understand business analysis, you're going to end up being better at both the PM and the BA work that you probably are already doing. And you appreciate what it is required to deliver quality projects and products. And then you become an advocate for the inclusion of good BA in your organizations, and maybe even BAs on your projects to enhance project and product value. So you become that advocate to take your BA practice in your organization from here to here. And you can collaborate to do that. That's great stuff. So we would love to help you in your skills development in project management, business analysis. We've got basically, if you want to know how to do it, we can help you get there. We'd love to help you on that. And here are some upcoming classes that you might be interested. We'd love to see you in any of these. And yeah, that's what I've got. So thank you again so much for your time. And a little shout out to my colleagues out there who contributed to the VA practice guide. Hope you found this helpful and a good use of your time, folks. Love to be connected with you on LinkedIn. Look me up, send me a link, request, learn BA. You do BA, folks.
Awesome. Well, I want to see, we have a couple of questions here. I'm super mindful of
Oh
your time,
yeah,
so let's get to maybe one of them for sure. One question here: is it okay to
yeah.
combine the business case and the project charter form into one document?
Yeah, I would never say no to that. Just know that the business case is an input into the project charter. So what I would say is that even if you don't have a formal business case, the work that goes into developing a business case needs to be done. So, thinking about what are the business needs? What's the obstacle to us getting where we want to go as an organization? What is the opportunity we want to capitalize on? What are the options? Cost benefit analysis, however robust that needs to be. It doesn't always need to be real robust, but the thinking behind that needs to be done. So if you put that into maybe a charter that's got a little bit of that, for sure, for sure, and just making sure that people understand the why. That's what you want. And everybody should know that. The PM, the BA, team members, everybody should know that. Yeah. You're welcome, everybody.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. And we just had one more, if we could get to it. Are there analogs to PMEVM for a BA to help during manage requirements?
Are there analogies to EVM, earn value? That's an interesting question. I mean, you're looking at what have you accomplished against a timeline? I don't know that I haven't ever heard of anything. I suppose you could concoct something. I don't know what that would be. Um, Yeah, I don't know. The funny thing is, business analysis is it's not linear at all. So, and project management isn't strictly linear either, but it's easy to think of project management in terms of the first this, then this, and you've got this timeline. BAs have timelines too. I suppose you could do something along that, around that. But if you look at any of the frameworks in business analysis, they're almost comical because the arrow is going every which way. So it's like, why even have arrows? It's just a swirl of things. So I don't know. I would have to mull that over, I think. Yeah. I don't know I don't know. Have to think
Something
about
to
the value proposition of that.
Yeah, something to think about for sure. All righty.
Oh, I
Well,
see another one. If an organization working in Agile is it fair to write use cases as well as the user stories as part of the project artifacts? Yeah, I've got a colleague who's really big on this. Use cases are back, and people write use cases. In an Agile environment, actually, frankly, in any environment, if it adds value, do it. Nobody says you can't. There's a lot of things you can get out of use cases that you may not get in other things. So use it for sure. Yeah.
excellent. Awesome. Thank you so much for your very insightful questions, audience. And thank you so much again for your time. This was a lot of great info for y'all. And if y'all need any more information on this topic, please do not be afraid to visit us at watermarklearning.com. If you missed out on any part of this session, we will be sharing a copy of this recording with you in an email after the webinar. Thank you again, Andrea.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.
Absolutely. Thanks so much again for joining us. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.